It was
Sydney,
supposed to be the
Nicole,
quiet
and
dignity of a
Keith
19-year
became
marriage
something
ending.
larger than a couple.
When Nicole
They
Kidman
became a
and Keith
symbol.
Urban
After
finalized their
Nicole's
divorce in a
bruising and
Nashville
very
courtroom
public
in
divorce
January
from Tom Cruise,
2026,
the
the world
world
assumed the
wanted to
curtain
see
would
her
close
win
on one
at
of
love.
Hollywood's most
And
enduring
Keith,
love
the
stories with a
reformed
whisper,
bad
not
boy
a
of country
scream.
music who had battled
But 3
addiction and
months later, the
self-destruction,
whisper has turned
gave
into a
people
roar of
the
betrayal.
redemption arc they were
Behind
rooting
the
for.
designer dresses
Together,
and the
they were
carefully
the
worded
perfect
statements
story.
about moving
Nicole
forward,
fed that
a
story
brutal,
carefully.
high-stakes war
In
is being
interview
waged.
after interview, she
And according
described
to
Keith as her
insiders,
greatest
Nicole Kidman
love,
hasn't just
the man
moved
who
on,
brought her
she has
back to life.
systematically
She
exposed the
spoke
man
about
she
their
once
marriage
called her
with a
savior,
reverence that
leaving Keith
bordered
Urban
on sacred.
isolated,
She
lost, and
protected his
contemplating a
reputation
tell-all
fiercely,
revenge that could tear the
defending
family
him
apart
during
for
difficult
good.
periods and
This is
keeping
the
the darker
story of how the
realities
perfect marriage
firmly
built on
behind
redemption
closed
ultimately
doors.
shattered under the
For
weight of
years,
absolute
she
silence.
carried the weight of maintaining
To
that
understand the
image
explosion,
almost
you have to look at the
entirely
silence.
on her own. And
4
for
months after
years, the
filing in
world
September
believed it because she needed
2025,
them to,
Nicole Kidman
and
retreated.
perhaps because she
She
needed to
told
believe it
Variety
herself.
she went into
But
her
belief,
shell,
no matter how
disappearing from the
fierce,
Hollywood scene
cannot
that
hold a
usually adores
fracturing
her.
reality together forever.
But in March
When Nicole
2026, she
filed for
broke that
divorce in late
silence.
2025 in
Sitting down
Davidson
for an
County,
interview, she
Tennessee,
declared,
citing
2026.
irreconcilable differences,
Here we go,
the legal
signaling
language
she was
was
ready to come out
deliberately
fighting.
understated. 2
However,
words,
it wasn't what
19
she said that
years.
started the
But
fire,
those 2
it was
words
what and who
quietly
she left
opened a
out.
door that had been
When
shut
asked about
for a
her
very long
support
time.
system,
The
Kidman
filing
spoke
itself
only of her
spoke
beautiful
volumes
girls,
about how
who
the
are
marriage
suddenly
had
women,
truly
and her
operated
sister.
beneath the surface.
She thanked her
Nicole
family.
sought primary
She
residential
thanked her
custody of their
resilience.
daughters, Sunday Rose
But in
and
a
Faith
scathing
Margaret,
omission that
while
a source
Keith was
described as
granted
pretending
joint
he doesn't
decision-making
exist,
authority.
she never once
Crucially,
mentioned
both
Keith
parties
Urban.
waived spousal
For a
support and
man who
child
once
support,
wrote songs
a
about his
detail that
maniac in the
suggested their
bed, being
financial
erased
lives
from the
had long
narrative
been
was the
maintained
first shot.
separately, a
The
quiet
rumors of a
indicator that
conscious
the unity
uncoupling
they
began to
presented
fray
publicly
almost
had not been
immediately.
the full picture privately.
While Nicole painted
Sources
a
close
picture
to
of serene
Nicole
forward motion,
revealed
the
that she
legal
had spent
documents told a
months
different story.
agonizing over the decision
When
before
the
finally
parenting plan
filing.
was
She had
unsealed, the
fought to
numbers were
preserve the marriage,
devastating.
not
Nicole
simply
was
out of
granted
love, though
306
that
days a
love
year
was
with daughters
real,
Sunday
but
Rose and
out of
Faith
a
Margaret.
deep, almost
Keith
desperate
was left
commitment
with
to
just
keeping her family
59.
intact. Having
Insiders
lost
claim that
primary
Urban,
custody
wanting
of
to
her
keep the
adopted
peace and
children,
avoid a
Isabella
traumatic
and
court
Connor,
battle for his
following her divorce
girls,
from Tom
surrendered
Cruise,
without a fight.
Nicole had carried that
He
wound
signed
for
the
over
papers
2
hoping for
decades.
amicable
The thought
co-parenting.
of another fractured
But the
family
hints of his
was,
isolation
by
grew
all
louder.
accounts,
He
almost
spent Christmas
unbearable
in
to her.
Nashville without his
When
family
she
while
ultimately
Nicole and the
filed,
girls
those
celebrated
close
in
to her
Sydney
say
with her
it was
sister
because she
Antonia.
reached a point where she
Friends
understood
told
she
New
could no
Idea that
longer
Keith was
save both the
completely
marriage and
lost and
herself.
doesn't know where
What
home is
Nicole is
anymore.
beginning to
The
expose,
man who
not
once
through
rescued
dramatic
Kidman from the
declarations,
depths of
but through
grief
the
after
slow
her father's
accumulation
death
of
was
her
now
words,
sleeping
her
alone in their
choices,
Tennessee
and her public
farmhouse.
behavior, is the
The
reality of
tension
what it meant
snapped
to
into
love
focus
Keith
when the
Urban.
children took
For
sides.
much of their marriage,
In a move
she
that
was not
insiders
simply
call
his
a
wife.
calculated blow,
She was
Sunday
his
Rose,
anchor,
now
his
17,
stabilizer, his
sat down with
emotional
Elle
safety
Australia.
net. When Keith
In a
checked
profile
himself
meant to
into
celebrate her
rehab just
mother,
4 months
Sunday
after their
heaped praise
wedding,
on Nicole, calling her
did
a
not
key part of
retreat.
everything I
She
do
visited
and her
him.
biggest
She stood by
inspiration.
him publicly.
Keith Urban's
She
name was not
absorbed the
mentioned
tabloid
once.
cruelty and
As
refused
the
to show
article
cracks.
circulated,
In
the
the years
digital
that
Cold War
followed, that
escalated.
pattern
Sunday briefly
continued.
unfollowed
His
her father on
sobriety
Instagram.
remained a
For a
constant
teenage girl
undercurrent
to
of
publicly
tension
snub her
in their
father in
relationship.
such a visible way,
Friends who were
it sent
close to the couple
shockwaves
have
through
described
Nashville.
Nicole as
A
someone
source
who
told the
lived with a
Cairns Post that
persistent
the snub
low-grade
left
fear of
Urban stumped and
relapse,
numb.
a vigilance that
The
never fully
message was
lifted
clear.
no matter how many
In the
years of
Kidman-Urban
stability Keith
divorce,
maintained.
neutrality was
She
not an
monitored,
option.
she supported, she
Hollywood
managed,
friends followed
and she
suit.
did all of it while
Reese
simultaneously
Witherspoon,
running
Sandra
one of the most
Bullock, and
demanding
even Russell
careers in
Crowe have
Hollywood,
reportedly rallied
raising 2
around
daughters,
Nicole,
and
while Keith's
maintaining the
phone has
public
remained
image
eerily
of a
quiet.
blissful marriage.
This
What
brings
she
us
is
to the
now
moment of the
making
emotional
clear,
break, the
through
point
the
of no
very act of
return.
walking away, is
Keith
that she
Urban has
reached her
spent 2
limit,
decades battling
not because she
demons.
stopped loving him,
Nicole
but because
famously
loving him
staged
the
the
way he
intervention
needed to
that
be
sent him to
loved had
rehab
cost
just
her
months after
something
their
she
wedding
could
in
not continue to give.
2006.
She had spent
For
the latter
years, the
years of her
narrative was that
marriage
she saved him.
carrying a weight that was never
Now, a
meant to be
source
hers
close to
alone,
Urban claims
and
he
the
is
divorce
devastated
was, at
not
its
just by the
core,
divorce,
Nicole
but by the
choosing
rewriting of
herself
history.
for perhaps the first time
He had
in
hoped the
19
shock
years.
of the split would wear
If
off and
Nicole's
they could
exposure to
co-parent with
truth has been
grace.
quiet and measured,
Instead,
Keith's
an insider
response
told
was
Radar
anything
Online,
but.
when
In the
Keith told
days
Nicole
following the
that he
divorce
wasn't
announcement,
happy
he
in
took
the
the
marriage
stage
and
on his
wanted the
high
divorce, it
and
was like a
alive
gate
world
slammed
tour
shut.
without his wedding
She
ring.
was suddenly dead to
That
him.
absence was noticed
He reportedly
immediately,
feels he has been
but it was
painted
what
as the
happened
villain who
during the
walked away
performance
from a
that
perfect
truly
life,
peeled
when
back
the reality
curtain.
is far
During the
messier.
song "You'll Think of Me,"
He's taken the
Keith
high
altered
road,
the
the
lyric,
source added,
"Take your
and he gets
space
no thanks.
and take your reasons to the
So,
pointed
what is the
and
truth that Nicole has
unmistakable.
exposed?
Take your unreasonable reasons."
It is the
A
truth of a man
change that
having a
landed like a
midlife
direct
crisis
message,
while his family
raw with
watches.
bitterness and frustration.
Sources
He
claim that since
also
the
removed the
separation,
fighter
Urban has turned
entirely
into a
from his set
different
list,
person, seemingly
song
eager to
widely
embrace the
understood to have
single
been
life in a
inspired
way
by
that
his
shocked
relationship
even
with
his
Nicole.
closest friends.
The erasure was deliberate.
Meanwhile,
He
Nicole has
was
countered by
rewriting the story
ruthlessly
of them in
documenting her
real
happiest
time
chapter.
on stage
She
in
took the
front of
girls on a
thousands of
trip to
fans.
Antarctica,
And while
posing for
Nicole had
triumphant
chosen
Instagram photos
dignified
captioned
silence,
"Once
he
in a
chose
lifetime
public
adventure with
grief,
family."
public anger,
She
and
walked
public
red carpets
confession
with
all at
co-stars like
once.
Simon Baker,
Ironically,
sparking rumors
Keith's
that
concert
allegedly made
did
Keith feel
more to
betrayed.
expose the truth of their marriage
An
than
insider told
anything
In Touch
Nicole herself
Weekly
had
that
said.
Keith's camp
His
views
visible
Nicole's
pain,
social
his
media
lyrical
presence as
anger,
cruel,
and
rubbing
the
it in.
absence of the wedding ring
She's like the
painted
cat that
a
ate the
portrait of a
canary,
man
the
who had
source
not come to
said,
terms with the
accusing her of
end
flaunting
or with
her
the role
happy
his own behavior
single-parent life
played in
while his
reaching it.
relationship with his
Nicole had
daughters
filed.
remains
Keith
fractured.
was performing.
The
And the
impact of
difference
this
between
exposure
those
is
two
seismic.
responses told
Keith
the
Urban,
entire
the
story.
Grammy-winning
What
superstar,
Nicole
is now
is
reportedly planning
ultimately
an explosive
exposing
tell-all
goes
to set
beyond
the
the
record
specifics of her
straight.
marriage to Keith.
If he goes through
She
with it,
is
the
revealing
illusion of the
something about the
perfect marriage
impossible
will be
position women
incinerated.
like her are placed
He
in
would
when they
likely detail
love
the
deeply troubled
isolation,
men.
the
She
coldness,
loved
and the
his
private pain
vulnerability.
that led to the
She was
collapse.
drawn to his rawness,
But it is a
his
dangerous
emotional
gamble.
openness, his
It won't
artistic
shock anyone
passion.
if he does a
But those
tell-all,
same
a source
qualities
mused.
that made her
What
fall
does
for
he
him
have to
also
lose?
made him, at
The
times,
answer is
impossible to live
everything.
with. His
By
restlessness
pushing him to the
clashed
brink,
with her
Nicole
need for
Kidman may have
stability.
finally
His
exposed the
desire for
fragile
freedom
foundation of their love
collided with her
story.
need for security.
But in
His
doing
inability
so,
to be
she has
her
created
equal
a man
partner,
with nothing left
rather
to
than her
lose.
dependent,
The
created
fairy
a
tale is
quiet
officially
resentment
over.
that grew year by
And the
year,
sequel?
layered beneath
It
the
looks
public
like a horror
smiles
show
and the
for the
red carpet
entire family.
hand-holding. She had been